All right, so we are recording this over the weekend. I didn't have a chance to do this Friday. So we had a couple days of correction on the market, meaning some of the gains we saw pull back. And I think this is an expected thing. You have a day where you make 5,000, almost $6,000 in a day. You're going to see a correction. So one of the things we're looking for, and it's actually a good thing that we see a correction because the main thing we're trying to do is we're trying to set up our cost basis for the investments long term. It'd be great if we saw, let's say 4 or 5 days where we made massive returns, but really we're not judging this by where we're doing in early May. We're looking at where we're doing this, let's say December. So the idea is we want to have the lowest cost basis possible and then go from there. So really, when you have opportunities for the cost to go down, you want to look at kind of ideas what you can do to lower your cost basis. So one of the first things we try to do before we make any moves on a day is we want to look at the Dow futures because it's going to give us a sense on where things are at. Now, it is not always exactly perfect. It's not proportional, but it gives an overall sense of what the market's going to do the next day. So there's times when we see the Dow futures, it'll be down 50, but then it'll really go down 400. Or it'll say it's going to be down 300, but it'll be down 150. But we rarely ever see, I can't think of any time where I've seen it down like 300 and then all of a sudden it has a monster day. It really doesn't really happen like that. So first thing we want to do, and I looked at this a couple minutes ago, is we go to Dow, search up Dow futures. I personally like the way the CNN business one looks because it gives us a good fresh view of that and plus kind of the main overall like sentiment that's going on. So right here, it initially tells us the stock futures are falling as uncertainty around the economy persists. And this word uncertainty is our best friend, okay? Because what it means is there's people that are going to be panicking and they're going to be making moves just based on emotion. And we do not do emotion. We're going to look at fundamentals and we're going to look at our main KPIs, in other words, cost basis, trying to find companies that are backed up by bailouts, who are the industry leaders that can basically outswim the novices, for lack of a better term. So, and what I mean by that is, if two people jump out of the boat, it doesn't really matter how good of a swimmer you are, as long as you're a better swimmer than the other guy. And there's the old saying, you don't have to outrun the bear, you just have to outrun your friend. And so if you have two companies and they're both in the same industry, but one of them has a bigger market share than the other, or is better positioned for a dip in the economy. So when we look at leverage, meaning the amount of debt that they have on there, that's kind of what we want to look for. So when we see uncertainty, it means we're going to see panickers. That's kind of how we want to interpret that. So as we look at the futures today, everybody's down 1% for the S&P, a little over 1% for NASDAQ, and 1% for Dow. So these are pretty well in line. And this one is 250 down. Now overnight on Thursday into Friday, this was down about 300. And we saw what we did on Friday. Early Friday evening, this was down like 50. So it looks like it's growing over time. So what we want to do is we want to take advantage and look at this cost basis and try to bring those down as much as possible. So some of the moves that we have already, they'll talk to you about what I'm looking to do, and then some of the things that I'm still looking to do overnight. So looking at our holdings page, and again, this file that you can actually download is on a link on the video description, so you can download it and look at whatever you want to look at, play with it, use it for your own. But we see the cost basis here, and we made a couple moves. So number one, obviously, when we see the market drop a little bit, I want to take advantage of whoever the new winners are. So we went into our upside, and we see Yuko. It's actually the upside's dropping, which is good. I mean, the price is going up. So that one's actually been one of our better performers over the last week or two, which is kind of funny to say that. So one of the things that we had before is we had Viking Therapeutics, Every, and Two Harbors, or I'm saying that's what we had before, Two Harbors, United Airlines, and Menlo. And so when I went in and I just literally canceled out all the limit orders and I said, I want to take a fresh look at this. So opening this up, we have a fresh new list of positive upsides. IVR, I don't know where that's at. And that needs to straighten itself out a little bit before I invest any money in that. MFA, we're pretty well invested in that as far as the share of our investments. Azul, we just bought one. Redwood Trust, I was looking at um, because that's in blue, which means that we're kind of under invested in that one. We only have $1,000 in that one. So we want to, if we can, look at that. But right now, the only reason I'm not adding something is because the current price of $3.95 is $1.45 over our cost basis, which is probably about 60% over what our cost basis is. So I'm not going to sit here and raise the cost basis on here. GNC is a mess. So we'll see where that goes. But that one really hasn't moved that much. And they're kind of in trouble until we get clearance on a lot of these states moving into like phase 3 and phase 4. Two, which we're underinvested in. If we take a look at Two Harbors right here, we only have $700 invested in it, and it's performing pretty well at 40%. So at that point, I thought, okay, I'm going to throw a limit order in at 425. It's currently at 435, so we'll probably get in there. And considering the market's going to go down, I might actually drop this down a little bit farther. So I think what we'll probably do is punch this down, let's say to 375. And if we get that, then that works out pretty well. And if, let's say tomorrow morning, it doesn't quite get to 375, we can see where it's at and call an audible. So that's going to be one of the new ones that we do. From there, we have a bunch of decent candidates here, but I really want to get some of these 100% buys in order. So we have Every and Menlo. So we look at Every, and that one we currently have, let's take a look at Every. Current have $2,000 in there, so I have no problem adding to that, even though we have a reasonable size investment in that one right now, but it's underneath our cost basis. So if we can get 100% buy and it's underneath our cost basis, we're going to do that. So it's sitting at 350. It's currently at 473. So odds are that limit order is not going to be filled tomorrow, but we'll see what it does. And I mean, this is the 350s. Like, if it goes down to 350, I'll take it, but I'm not in a need to do that. Besides, tomorrow morning I can take a look at it and we can call an audible as well. From there, the next one is Menlo, which is Menlo Therapeutics. They are a biotech company. And they basically, the only reason it dropped into view where the upside was decent for a while was because they had a drug trial where one of the safety test trials, like the phases of the trial, it didn't pass. So that dropped. But again, all over Reddit, they call this company Brian, who's the CEO, they call it Brian's ATM. So 100% buy, and some of the things I'm seeing, we see a limit order at 180, but it's sitting here at 177. So what we're going to do is, we had that. I actually canceled that out. So let's take a look here. That one, we had it at 180, but I took that one off. So let's take a look and see what we want to do. So we have VTech, Every, and two, Every, and VTech's on the bottom. All right, so this one we actually canceled. So I'll come back to that, and we'll see what we want to do with that. That's just a maybe, so we'll put that one in yellow just to come back and take a look at it. But when we go down to VKTX, this was the one, I'm sorry about that. This was the one that they called Brian's ATM. So 100%, it's under cost basis. It's at 535, and the market's at 549. But considering the market's going to drop, I might just drop this down to 5. And I'll just mark these as yellow. So we're just going to amend that inside Robinhood. All right, so that's kind of what we have for tomorrow. Now, that's what I've already committed to. So we have a low upside for VKTX, but that one really wasn't impacted because it's a biotech company by the shutdown. So you're going to see that on the low end, but there's not really a correlation between their current price and where is this? Their current price and their February 20th price. It's just a good company that I want to get in on, because if they have a drug that comes through, it's going to jump. So with that being said, we have that looking right there. Now, if the market goes down tomorrow, I'm not really eager to sell any of these But if we have some that are low on the low end of production, we can at least basically sell it at the market price when it comes out, take the price dip, and we just might buy it again. So with that being said, we'll take a look at Norwegian Cruise Lines, because they're again really contingent on the economy. All right. So we have a cost basis of we have 172 shares. $20.44, does that seem about right? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it seems about right. All right, we have a current price for Norwegians at 1402. Nope, that is not true. So 1402. All right, that's our current price. All right, and this is our cost basis. Let's copy this over and then edit it. All right, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to put this as sell price, and we'll put this at, let's see, it's at 1272. We'll just put in a 1250 price. Even put a 1270 price, because we can always buy this later. So, all right, so that one we have done. And this one we have MFA at 16%. This one's a little bit more volatile, so I think we can probably do the same thing with that one. MFA shares are 2867. Bring that down. Current price of MFA is 171. And okay. Oh, we don't have sell price. All right, so sell price for MFA, we'll just put it at, it's at 147 right now. We'll just call it 140. All right, and our current cost basis for that is, 147 is our cost basis. It's at 171, so we'll call this, we'll say 160. That way we still take a profit, and we'll make sure we get this knocked down. So we'll do MFA mark there. And again, what we're doing here is if we have a good sense the market's going down, we don't necessarily have to keep all these that we have here. But these ones are doing okay. Let's see, services is doing, I mean, all these are kind of lined up around the same. And then ERI, I mean, they're doing pretty good. Do we want to do another ERI? So we bought it before at 1206. We sold it at 1628. It's at 1405. So I think we can probably do another one. So ERI is at 400. Bring it down here. Current price of ERI. Change this. There we go. And ERI is sitting at 1465, so we'll call it at 1450. All right, and I'll place those later. So what we're doing is we're basically protecting our downside a little bit. Now, we're not going to sell everything, but we want to basically say that if this goes down a decent amount of money, we want to catch it early. Let the rest of the people take the price drop if we can for these particular ones. And then once it hits a low tomorrow, we're going to put in a buy limit order on these same ones tomorrow. So with that being said, let's see, we have all the lower ones. And I'm not taking a loss, so we're going to stay with these, see where they come out, and stay with these and see where they come out. Again, we're playing long the whole time, so we're not going to get overly done, but I definitely want to have the ones where the difference between where we currently have earnings and the cost basis are close, because we don't want to sit here and basically wake up and find out that the stock is below our cost basis. We want to keep these red ones as little as possible. So if the market does go up tomorrow on some of these, then none of these are going to get affected. And if they go down, we have some limited ones that we can basically clear up and save some money and reinvest at a lower price again. So with that being said, we can clear these up. So again, as we looked to tomorrow, it's at 247. Let's refresh this, see if it's changed. So 217. All right, so it looks like it's retracting a little bit. These are under 1% too, so I guess these are high frequency trades, because all these are pretty much like super close together. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's goal, again, is not necessarily we're looking for a $5,000 day. We're looking to get another option for some cool stocks that have high upside, and that these upsides are going to increase a little bit and increase our cash flow to take advantage of those. So with that being said, currently projections, we're still projected to be at about 164%, about 500% gain, and we see a couple of these are going to go up in the red shortly. So with that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow.
Now, this is just a small sample of what we have in our full program. If you want to change the results you're having, you want to get rid of the struggle, and you want to actually have sales be easy, where people naturally are signing up with you all the time, and you're not really even putting in much effort, it's time to make that change in your life right now. Go ahead and click on the button below and get started in our full program. And when you do click on that button, you're going to get a full description of what we get the program. I have a couple bonuses that I want to throw your way. We're constantly adding free stuff to the program. And it's also going to talk about our full no-brainer guarantee. So click on the button below to get started now.